Today I want to talk about the unforeseen circumstances that can lead to some really cool opportunities a la Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and Jalen Hurts, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today I want to talk about how things come together. While it is, I'm recording this on Father's Day. Whenever it goes up, it's when it goes up. And congratulations to all of y'all that had the good swimmers. Hey, babe, my family over here acting a fool on Father's Day because I had the smart idea to host my parents and my girlfriend at my house. And I cook for them, and they don't care that I cook for them. They over here clowning, and I got people poking in and outside of the door, and it can be distracting, but if they come in here, I'm going to put them on blast. I want you to know that right now. While I'm trying to have a conversation about Jalen Hurts. Stop that. I'm going to tell people what you're doing. She over here, Laurel over here clowning, and it's the internet. So I'm going to just let the internet use its imagination as to what's going on here as I'm really trying to tell this story. So I've been thinking a lot about NFL contracts and what makes a good NFL quarterback and how quarterbacks become regarded as good. And yes, we can talk about system and fit, and we can talk about how good they are when talent, right? Can they throw the ball? Can they run the ball? How big are they? How tall are they? And I guess the best example for this is, yeah, it's not just because the Oklahoma thing, but it's just good, is Baker Mayfield. Imagine if Baker Mayfield had decided to stick it out at Texas Tech. It wasn't going his way. He wanted to start. He wanted to be put on scholarship. And so it goes. He transferred to Oklahoma, and if he doesn't get the extra year, and he doesn't hook up with Lincoln Riley, who had just got there as an offensive coordinator and who was just beginning to change the way many people view offensive football at this level, he doesn't get the opportunity to play in 2016 and 2017. And I think there's a big difference between 2016 and 2017. Not necessarily that he wouldn't be a first-round quarterback, but would he be the number one overall pick? Probably not. He had a lot of film. He's shown a lot of what he could do. He'd shown that he can make every throw you needed to make, that his size was not a factor when we're talking about how tall he is. And when he was drafted by Cleveland, many folks still thought, even after he was drafted, this is a bad fit. One, because Cleveland is a dumpster fire. And I was saying the same thing. I didn't want him to get drafted by Cleveland because for the last 20 years, it had just been a laughingstock, and I didn't want my guy going to a laughingstock. And John Dorsey turns out to be the dude who knows how to make the moves and put the folks around Baker to succeed. So now we're talking about the Cleveland Browns as a playoff contender and an outside shot at competing for a Super Bowl because they built around him and because he had the skill set that they needed at the time. But it's also a series of circumstances nobody could have predicted. From being a walk-on at Texas Tech, to being a walk-on at Oklahoma, to getting the extra year, to being in the Heisman voting, to winning the Heisman Trophy, to number one overall pick. It's a remarkable story, and because Baker's Baker, we love that. And you could really say the same thing about Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is a five-star quarterback, best high school football quarterback in the state of Texas ever. Texas high school football legend. The greatest 5A quarterback anybody's ever seen. And he was a five-star quarterback when he got to Texas A&M. And because the circumstances were such, he was thrown in late. He did not get the best opportunity to succeed. The offense was not necessarily built around him. It wasn't really built around any quarterback, which is why Kenny Hill left, Kyle Allen left, and of course, Kyler Murray left. And we can go on there. But what if Kyler Murray does not find out that Lincoln Riley's doing some awesome things and Lincoln Riley does not pursue him, trying to make sure that he signed his financial aid agreement, having him sit for the year that he did sit, going, hey, man, just give us a moment here. That's also huge because, yeah, he would have loved to compete it with Baker Mayfield for the starting job in 2017. Just wasn't going to be what it is. Now, in 2018, turned out to beat Austin Kendall out for the job. And nobody expected Kyler Murray to end the year as a Heisman Trophy winner and let alone go into the next year and be the number one overall pick in the NFL draft. Nobody said that. If you did, you're lying. Flat out, full stop. Don't claim to be that guy. It's all timing and it's all circumstance. Because yes, he got Lincoln Riley, but he also had the best offensive line in football. They got the award to prove it. You had 4 guys off of that line get drafted, and by the time it's all said and down, 5 guys will go on the first 4 rounds because Creed Humphrey's just that preternatural a center. He also had CeeDee Lamb and Hollywood Brown on the outside. Hollywood Brown is first-round draft pick. CeeDee Lamb is likely to be. He got to play with Grant Calcaterra, and Lee Morris came on. He got a walking first down in Kenny DeBrooks even after Rodney Anderson got hurt. These are all things that you could not have said Kyler Murray would have had at his disposal. And as I've continued to say, if Rodney Anderson does not get hurt, Kyler Murray does not turn into the quarterback we know him as, because you don't draw it up for your quarterback to pass for 4,000 yards and rush for another 1,000. It's just not what you do. You don't want that guy counting for 5,000 yards with his feet and throwing the ball. And even throwing the ball, you can make an argument you don't want him to do that, because that just means that you're not necessarily good at running the ball. Now, thinking about Jalen Hurts, and a guy that could have stuck it out at Alabama, by all accounts. Tua Tagovailoa has had injuries like everybody else. He could have gone down, and here you go with Jalen Hurts once again, just like they did in the SEC title game. I think, though, that this could all work out to benefit Jalen Hurts in the roundabout ways that it usually does for guys that are talented. If you're good, you're good, and we'll all know that you're good. I pointed out over the last few days what I think are flaws in his game. That's not to say that you cannot win football games with Jalen Hurts. Obviously, you can. And you can actually pencil that guy in as a Heisman candidate today who could end up on the podium with his game such as it is. But when I talk about Jalen Hurts, what I want to talk about more is what he can stand to gain and improve upon at Oklahoma, because he's been to the top of the mountaintop. He's won a national championship. He has not necessarily had this kind of an offensive mind at his disposal, and he certainly has a lot he can learn from Lincoln Riley, and there's certainly ways that Jalen Hurts can help Oklahoma. But let's not talk about Jalen Hurts as a guy that is going to be considered a top quarterback coming out into the draft next year, because he ain't. He has tremendous amounts of personality, tremendous amounts of moxie, and he is tremendously talented as a quarterback. But is he precise? No. Is he accurate? No. Not really. He can't make all the throws that you need to be able to make in Lincoln Riley's offense, but I do think that those are mechanics. I think those are things that can be fixed. There are people that say that you can't. Jalen Hurts has an opportunity to prove everybody wrong in 2019, and he'll say till he's blue in the face, I'm not trying to be anybody else. Well, yeah, you are. You're trying to be a better version of Jalen Hurts. Otherwise, why are you playing football? If you think that you've succeeded, if you think you have nothing more to learn, if you think you have nothing more to gain, you don't transfer to Oklahoma, and you certainly are not going out of your way to say that I'm Jalen Hurts and I'm not Baker Mayfield. I think these are all things that we need to continue to talk about as we continue to litigate whether or not Jalen Hurts' move to Oklahoma ultimately benefits Jalen Hurts. We know how it benefits Oklahoma. I want to see how this can help him as much as anything else. All right, that's it for me. Doses.